Hello guys. I have put together a PowerPoint on what is a plan of study, and basically we're going to talk about what classes you're going to take in high school and the progression of those classes. What does it mean? How many credits do I have to graduate? All that type of stuff. And so hopefully I have all the information that I need here. All right, so what is the plan of study and how to plan for high school? If you've been looking at your ICAP, one of the very last things that you're going to do is a plan of study. And I've had some questions on what is a plan of study. So let's go over some of the stuff that hopefully will help you guys understand what is required in high school. So I have some links here, and I will post this PowerPoint somewhere, but these are the graduation requirements for the state of Oklahoma, and then we also have Little Axe High School graduation requirements. So I've put a link on here so that you will have access to those. I'm going to show you the state of Oklahoma website first. So this link here will take you to the actual department, the State Department of Education. And if you scroll down, you will see there's a lot of information on here, but what I'm here to show you is these are your graduation checklists. And I have my own checklist that I use for every student, but each year some things kind of change. So they update this every year, and I'm just going to pick on the class of 2023. So you see here you have actually two different pathways for graduation. You have the college preparatory pathway and you have the core curriculum pathway. And when each student is enrolled into ninth grade, they are automatically put on this college preparatory pathway per the state of Oklahoma. If a parent chooses to change their child to the core curriculum pathway, there is a form that they have to sign that we have to keep on file, and it only changes your math and your English, and we'll go into more detail about that later on in this presentation. But here is the parent curriculum choice letter, opt out. So basically you're choosing to opt out of the college preparatory pathway and you're choosing to do the core curriculum. So if you click on this for class of 2023, it is going to show you what is required for graduation for the state of Oklahoma. And I have a cheat sheet. It looks not like this, but it has all the information on there. I think it's more condensed. So you can see that you have to have 4 English, 3 history, you have to have 3 math, you have to have 2 um, either foreign language or computers. You have to have 3 science, a fine art, and then an additional core unit, and then so many electives. Now you're going to notice here for the state of Oklahoma, 23 units are required, which means that you have to have 23 credits to graduate per the state of Oklahoma. Well, if you pay attention to your district's policy, every district has a different policy. And the Little Axe Public Schools policy is that you have to have 24. So what the difference between the State Department of Oklahoma and Little Axe is that Little Axe now requires you, they changed this, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. You have to have at least 1 year of computers. So if you take 2 foreign languages, you have to have 1 year of computers, or you can take 2 years of computers, and that can fulfill your 2, where'd it go? Your 2 foreign languages. This excludes any typing courses, which are normally taken at the middle school. We don't offer those at the high school. But you will find, like, I think Norman Public Schools, their Board of Education requires 23 units. I think Noble's close to what Norman is. So each district has their own set of competencies that have to be hit. And you just so happen to go to Little Axe that requires 24. And if you have a question about what Little Axe actually does require, here's a link to our student and parent handbook. It is on page 54. and I have it pulled up here somewhere. Here we go. And you can go through, so you can see it's on page 54 of 70, and you can go through and see which classes are required. But here, right here, it states you have to have 24 credits. All right, so plan of study kind of looks something like this. This is just an easier way to read it. So ninth grade, this is how I do our schedules, how they've done their schedules in the past. Ninth grade, unless you have something like show choir or athletics or both, normally your schedule is pretty full. And there are reasons behind this. For one, and we'll get into that later. You have more options when you get into the 11th and 12th grade years. And at ninth grade, you can get a lot of stuff out of the way. So if you're not enrolled in one of these classes, like a fine art for some reason or another, because you are taking show choir and athletics, or you're in a program or a class that I couldn't fit all of this in there, then you will take it your 10th grade year, and we'll make sure that you get it by your 12th grade year. But this is kind of the completion of this. And so you can see as you get closer to 12th grade, you have less and less requirements for classes. Now, that doesn't mean you can, only have to take English 4. You actually have to be enrolled in 7 classes a day. So most of you guys, some of these will move on to your 12th grade year. Here are some additional options to what is here. So this is just a basic schedule. No honors classes, no AP classes, nothing like that. So we offer English in English 9th and 10th grade. If you're on the honors track, we have English honors, and then 11th and 12th grade AP English is offered. Math, we have honors algebra, honors geometry, honors algebra 2, and then you can progress into pre-calc and algebra 3. If you're a student who's really far ahead, like say you take algebra in 8th grade, then you go into honors geometry, honors algebra 2. We have the option for OSSM, which is Oklahoma School of Science and Mathematics, where you can take AP courses for calculus, physics, and some other courses if you do the full 2 years. During your 11th and 12th grade years, you will have the option of concurrent classes. And then in your 11th and 12th grade years, you have the option for Mid-America Technology Center. So in your 9th grade year, going into your 9th grade year, into your sophomore year, you kind of want to think, what is my pathway for high school? Do I want to go to college? Don't ever take college off the table, but it's not a requirement. You can go to Mid-America and you can get, hands-on education. You can go straight out into the workforce. You can go to Mid-America and do concurrent classes at the same time. You can go to Mid-America, and then after Mid-America, and you get through their program, you can go to college after high school. So don't ever take any of these options off the table. It's not all about going to college. It's about what is your pathway going to be? What are you going to choose? And once you take one of these off the table, then your choices, or the availability of things become limited. So even though you're in 9th or 10th grade, these are the things that we need to start thinking about of what we're able to do or what we want to do. All right, so for honors classes, we do have a policy for honors classes. For students who want to be in honors or AP courses, they must meet 2 of the following 3 options every year. So an A or B in the previous same content core class, meaning like if you took 8th grade English, regular English, and you made an A or B, and your teacher recommends you for an honors class the next year, we can do that. If a placement test tests you high in a subject, we can look at that and move you to an honors course. So in your honors and AP courses, guys, your grades do matter. If you actually drop below, any student that drops below a 70% in any of these honors classes can be removed by an administrator or counselor and teacher, which I'll tell you, I don't normally take out of an honors course until the teacher will come and talk to me and say, hey, you might look at so and so, they are not turning in work, da 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 da. These honors courses are a course for students who are going to turn in their work and work hard and learn more and at a faster pace. So just be aware that there are requirements and guidelines to stay in an honors AP course. So some helpful resources that we're going to look at are one, the 2021 course catalog. The information we're going to talk about is going to be in next year's catalog. And then I'm going to show you my cheat sheet that I have on every student at the school. I'm going to get out of this PowerPoint because I already have them pulled up. So here, oh, we can close that out. So here is the 2021 course catalog. This has been posted to our Little Axe High School website since I created it last summer. Coronavirus kind of took us in a different spin, so I wanted to try to get as much information out to everyone that I could. So in this right here, we're going to talk about the two different pathways to graduation. You have the core, here's the core, and here's the college preparatory. So you can see that both of them still require 4 units of English, these same English classes. Even though you're on core, you can still take AP or honors classes. The biggest difference, there's two big differences between the core and the college preparatory pathway. You still have to have 24 units to graduate. That doesn't change. But the biggest differences are your science and your math. So for core pathway, your third science can be a horticulture class. For college preparatory pathway, horticulture is not considered a core science, but it is considered an elective. And if you are an Oklahoma Promise student, then you will need to follow this college preparatory pathway. The math, the third math, the core pathways may take math and finance for your third math. The college preparatory math and finance is considered an elective, so you would want to take Algebra 2 or move on to pre-calc or Algebra 3. Now, does that mean that a college preparatory pathway student cannot take horticulture or math and finance? No, you can take those two. In fact, I do suggest math and finance because it gives you a lot of life lesson math concepts, and it's close to PFL, but they go into way more concepts of just real life concepts that students should have the knowledge of. Um, if you choose to go into our ag program, our FFA program, horticulture is going to be a class that you want to take. Uh, Again, that does not mean that you automatically go to the core graduation pathway. So those are the two biggest differences to the graduation pathway. Uh-oh, I lost it. Here we go. You still have to have 3 sciences, you still have to have 3 social studies. There are specific classes that you have to have. So like you have to have English 1 through 4. Every student must take algebra, every student must take geometry, and then your third math you choose yourself. Every student must have biology 1. Um, Everyone, physical science, you have to have a physical science, but it doesn't have to be physical science. Chemistry is considered a physical science, physics is considered a physical science. So if you didn't take physical science, but you took chemistry, you're fine. Um, so, like here, this includes a physical science. So, again, it can be physical science, it can be chemistry, or it can be physics. Either one of those three are considered a physical science class. Um, if you're on the college preparatory or the core pathway and you take physics, that's okay. It's completely fine. Social studies, you still have to have 3 units of social studies. There are specific classes that you have to have. And once you complete those, it is completely up to you if you want to take that 4th year of social studies. You both have to have 1 fine arts class. The pathways, this is a little different here. So you have to have, because Little Axe requires you to have a computer unit, you have to have computers. So that's what I put all the students in. I don't even give you the option to do the one world unit language. But over here in the college preparatory pathway, you have to have 2 units. So you can have 2 units of computers, or you can have 2 units of world language. If you do the 2 units of world language, then you still have to have, per Little Axe High School policy, that 1 year of computers, the Fund of Tech class. And then everyone has to have personal financial literacy. And then depending on what you've taken depends on how many electives you have to have after that. Certificate of distinction is a whole other ballgame, but the information that you need if you're interested in that is right here in this catalog that can be found on the website. The other thing I want to show you is towards the bottom. And so here's kind of a class progression, kind of like a plan of study. So I plan to take English 1 in ninth grade. I plan to take English 2 in 10th grade, so on and so on. And these are normally the years that the students will take these classes. Now that could change depending on if you have failed a class or if you're ahead of everyone because you took 8th grade algebra or whatever the situation may be. So the exception is if the student is ahead in a subject area or if the student has failed a course. So just keep in mind that that is there for you guys to reach. All right, let's go back to the presentation. My cheat sheet. So here's my cheat sheet. Again, I have this on every student and I pull it out in a lot of our meetings that we have. And every year I'll go through and I'll put a check mark. They passed English first semester, English second semester, so on and so on. No, they're not on the college pathway. Yes, they're doing certificate of distinction. And this kind of helps me know what classes you have to have still for the next year when we do schedules. Are they core? Are they college bound? Yes, they've signed up for Oklahoma Promise. Yes, they're interested in certificate of distinction. Yes, they're interested in the technology center, what program. So I might pull this out, and I have quite a bit with students in my office and just kind of gone over their progress. And you can print that off and use that as well. It's completely up to you. So we've discussed the major differences between the college and the core pathways. There is an exception if you take, or a math exception, if you take Algebra 1 in 8th grade, the student still must take 3 more math credits in high school. Geometry, Algebra 2, Pre-Calc, or Algebra 3. So these 2 are given, and then you would take one of those unless you went to OSSM. And then what we can count it for is the 8th grade Algebra 1 still counts for the 4th math for certificate of distinction. And then coming to a close, credits. Credits are very important, guys. When you enter into the 9th grade, you have 0 credits. This is when people start looking at your transcript. Your transcript is a legal document. It is shared. We have employment companies contacting us for 50-year-olds to get a copy of their transcript. So just remember that your transcripts are important. So entering into the 9th grade, you have 0 credits. That's what is considered a 9th grader. To be considered, we're not like elementary and middle school where you just roll up to the next grade that we just pass you. We can't. Legally, we cannot just continue to pass you on through. You have to have certain classes and you have to have a certain amount of credits. So by the state of Oklahoma, to be considered a sophomore, you have to have completed 5 credits. For the students who fail no classes in the 9th grade, they normally have, that would be 7 classes, so you get 3.5 credits a semester, so you would have 7 credits going into the 10th grade. And then your 11th grade year, you have to have 11 credits to be considered a junior. So if you're at 10 credits, sorry, you're still a sophomore for that next year. So just be aware that if you fail a class or you get a no grade because of absences or no credit because of absences, that can make you still be considered that current grade level. To be considered a senior, you have to have 17 credits. And then to graduate, you have to have 24 credits from the Little Lacs Public Schools. Normally, very rarely have I seen a student, a handful maybe, that have exactly 24 credits. Majority of you guys will graduate with like 27 plus credits, which is fine. It's completely fine. The way that Little Axe has it set up is that you have 7 hours a day. Different districts, you have different hours a day. We don't count lunch as an hour, so we have 7 classes a day. Where Norman, and I only know this because my daughter, their one of their hours is a lunch hour, so they actually have less credit hours a day. But they also have other options. So every district is different. So if you're one of those students that's hopping from Little Axe to Noble to Norman to wherever, and then you're coming back to Little Axe, just know that each district has their own graduation requirements. And if you change districts enough or at the wrong time, it can affect you from graduating with your class. Now, just because you fail a class in ninth grade, does that hinder you graduating with your graduating class? No, it does not. You have a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of wiggle room to keep you on track. But if you mess up too much and you fail classes in ninth grade, and then you fail classes in 10th grade, and then you fail classes in 11th grade, you're going to have a lot of work to be doing in your 12th grade year. And guys, I'm telling you, senioritis is a true thing. It just is. You're looking forward to prom, you're looking forward to graduation, you're looking forward to getting out of school, to doing your own thing, to moving out of your house, to getting a job, all of that stuff. So just know that 12th grade, just because you don't have that many required courses if you're on track that you have to graduate, you still have to be enrolled in 7 classes. You still have to attend school. And the more you mess up back here, you're moving these courses forward to your 12th grade year. And it is. Ask any teacher, it's going to make it hard for you. So that is basically the overview of the plan of study, um, the credits that are required to graduate, what the classes mean, how to find your graduation requirements for your grade level. If you come to the office, I can print this out for you. This is a great check sheet for you as well. So like even this has changed for our 10th graders to graduate. You have to have taken the ACT or SAT. It is a requirement now, even if you're not college bound. Just remember that even though you're not college bound, doesn't mean that you don't have to take the ACT or that the ACT doesn't matter, because it does matter. And that's just a whole other conversation. Because you never know where you're going to be in 5 or 10 years down the road. And if you decide to go back to school for an education, you're going to need your high school transcript. You're going to need ACT scores. If you score low on the ACT, does that affect you from going into college? Like they're just not going to accept you? Well, some colleges maybe, yes, but in some cases, no. You can still go to college as an adult, who scored low or not taking the ACT. You're making it harder on yourself because you will take remedial classes. You will um, have to pay for classes that don't count as a college credit. And it's not just for college. You do a lot of the same things for a tech school whenever you go into a tech school. So my son's gonna go back and do another 2 years of tech school because he didn't like the first program, which is fine because it's free till you're 21. But you know what? He still has to fill out that FAFSA. It's required. And there's so many requirements that are the same across the board. So don't think of any time you see a college something, it doesn't mean you don't have to do it because you're not going to college. It just means if you stay on this pathway, college is going to be easier for you. So if you have any questions, come by and see me.